Welcome to the Woolly Nomad Tutorials, and today's tutorial is how to make lacy holes. So I've cast on a bit of knitting, and if you go onto the playlist you can see how to cast on. There's a cast on tutorial there somewhere. And I've knit a couple of rows. I've got 14 stitches. I'm using a DK weight yarn, and it's the King Cole Finesse, which is silk and cotton. I'm using the Chiagu 4mm wooden needles. There might be bamboo, I'm not sure. It's either bamboo or wood. Right, move that out of the way so we can concentrate. So let us proceed. The first stitch is a knit stitch, so you pop your needle in towards the back. Now if you've not done a knit stitch before, do go and check out my tutorials, because I do have a tutorial on how to do a knit stitch. The first stitch, however, when you're doing lacy holes, is always going to be a knit stitch. Yarn over is bringing the yarn forward, so you're not doing any knitting at this point, you're just bringing it forward. Then the next two stitches need to be knit together, because we've made an extra stitch here, which, well, you'll see in a sec. There you go. So we've made an extra stitch, so we need to get rid of one, and so two stitches need to be knit together, and we're going to continue doing that. So yarn forward, knit two together, 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 and then the last stitch is a knit. So the first and last stitches are always knit, and then the lacy hole pattern, whatever, is in the middle. So that's what it looks like so far. And if we count, because we started off with 14 stitches, if we count we should have 14 still. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. If you have more or less, then something has gone wrong. So you probably need to pull it out and do it again. Which nobody likes to hear, you know. Right. So let's do the purl row. If you're not sure how to do purl, I also have a tutorial on purling. And there are lots of other ones out there too. So we're just going to purl this row until the end. Like so. And this is because we're knitting flat. If we were knitting in the round, you wouldn't have any purl rows at all. So yeah, we'll just be knitting the whole way through. But that will be another tutorial, how to do lace in the round. This one is kind of how to do lace flat, I suppose. There we go. And you'd use this for like a shawl or a scarf, or if you're doing a garment that you piece together, which is something I like to do anyway. Right, so the next one we're going to do exactly the same thing. So we knit one, yarn over, knit two together, and we're going to do that to the end of the row. Might fast forward it. And then the last stitch you knit. Right, so the next row is a purl. Yeah, so all the purl rows are just purl, and you don't do any lacy holes in those rows at all. And that's what it's looking like so far. Now if you look carefully, and as if you're a newbie you might not realize this or see it even, but you see the stitch is kind of leaning that way. So what we need to do is we need to have the stitch also lean the other way, because if you have it leaning only this way, then I don't know if you can see, but then the knitting starts to go at an angle. And that's why I did the 2 rows, just to show you the angle. So what you would normally do is one row would be the way we've done it, and then the next row would be what I'm going to show you now. But I did the 2 rows to show you that your knitting would go at a funny angle if you continued just doing yarn over and knit 2 together. So right, so you knit the first stitch, bring your yarn forward, which is the yarn over, slip the next stitch knitwise. So you slip it as if you were going to knit like this, and then you knit the next stitch like so, and then you bring that slip stitch over the stitch that you've just knit. Let's do that again. So yarn over, slip that stitch knitwise, knit that stitch, and then pass this slip stitch over. Yeah, let's do it again. And we'll continue doing this until we get to the end. And you see this slip stitch is where you lose your stitch. So you're making a stitch with the yarn over, and then you're losing a stitch by slipping the stitch and then passing it over. Well, the slipping doesn't lose it, but the passing it over the stitch, so you have 2 stitches on 1 stitch, if you like. Yeah. Right, okay, yarn over, slipping that knitwise, knitting that, yeah, and you just carry on until the end, like so. And then you knit the last stitch. Right, and as you can see, the stitch is kind of going that way now. Yeah. Previously it was going that way, and now it's going that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do another row with that. But first of all, we've got to do the purl row. So let's do the purl row quickly. Get the purl row out the way. Nobody likes purling. I don't know. I don't mind purling actually. Purling is alright. When you have to purl, then you purl. That's alright if you have to purl. When you knit in the flat, there is quite a lot of purling involved, so it's alright. It changes it up a bit. Whereas if you're just knitting the whole time, it can get slightly boring. But then sometimes you do need to just knit, so that's where knitting in the round comes in. Right, okay. So we've done that, and you can see better how that stitch is going that way. Right, now we're going to do another row like that, just to even it off, because we've got 2 rows. So I've got 2 rows with the stitch and knit together, so yarn over, knit 2 together, and we've got 2 rows, we will have 2 rows with yarn over, slip stitch purlwise, knit 1, and then pass slip stitch over. So I'm just going to quickly do that to the end. And if you're in doubt as to whether or not you've done something correctly, then do count your stitches, because you should always have the amount you cast on with. I cast on 14, so therefore I should always have at the end of a row 14 stitches. Now I'm going to play this in slow motion at the end so you can have a look with no voices. Right, so there we go, and let's just do a purl row. Sorry about the clattering of the needle. Right, so let's just do a purl row. Yep. Right, and there we are. So, and that's kind of now made the edge nice and straight. So what you would do is you would do one row where you have a yarn over, knit two together, then you would have the next row as yarn over, slip stitch knitwise, and then knit one stitch and then pass slip stitch over. And as you can see, you get a nice lacy net effect, which is something I'm doing for the lacy shawl at the moment. So anyway, I hope that is helpful for anyone learning how to make lacy holes. Comments below if you need any more help. Thank you.